One of the great image creation tools that computers give us is undo. If you've worked with any kind of a painting program, you know you're constantly trying out different things and then you undo to take them back and then you try out new things. In processing, you can undo some of your transformations. So if you apply a rotation and then a scale, for example, you can undo one or both of those operations and then go forward again. The undo process is not automatic. You have to say, this is an undo point. You can then apply whatever transforms you want to the coordinate system, and you can always undo and go back to the saved point. You can actually save multiple undo snapshots. Conceptually, we say that all of these snapshots taken together form a stack. Let me show you what I mean using colors rather than transformations. Here's a picture I would like to draw. Now, it's deliberately ridiculous because I just want to point out a couple of key things. First, notice that the blue ellipse is sandwiched between two brown ellipses. The only way to really draw that is to draw the smaller brown ellipse, then the blue ellipse, and then the larger brown one. Now, of course, we know how to save colors, so we can just fill with brown, fill with blue, and then fill with brown again. But suppose we didn't know how to save colors. We could then use the idea of an undo stack. Here's another example somewhere else in the same picture. I have a gray ellipse sandwiched between two magenta ellipses. So to draw this, I would choose magenta and save the color as an undo point. I would draw the magenta ellipse, and then I would change the color and make it gray. Draw the big gray ellipse, and then undo the color change. That brings me back to magenta, and I can draw the little magenta circle in front. Let's actually do this. Here are three color sliders, red, green, and blue, and to their right, I'm showing the color that they make. And right now I have red cranked up all the way, green and blue are at 0, so they're making a bright red color. Off on the left, I'll have my graphics window, and I will draw my first ellipse using this color, and there it is, a nice bright red ellipse. Now, as I work and I create these undo points, we're going to have multiple sets of sliders on the screen. So I'm going to put an orange background behind what I think of as the current sliders, the ones that I'm changing right now. Well, I only have one set of sliders right now, so that's the current set. Okay, let's change these around. So we'll crank up the green to make yellow, and I'll draw a yellow ellipse. And we'll move the sliders around again to get bright green. I'll move them again to get sort of a darker green. And we can keep doing this, changing the color sliders and drawing new objects. Now let's say I love this cyan color and I want to come back to it later, but I want to draw some other stuff in the meantime. I will save the cyan color by creating an undo point. Let's not worry about the mechanism right now. I'm just trying to cover the concept. So I will take a snapshot of the current set of sliders. This makes a copy of the sliders we have, and this is now the active set. And visually, I'm stacking the new ones on top of the old ones. So the topmost set of sliders in the stack will always be the active ones. The one on the bottom is now saved. I can come back to it. So let's go ahead and monkey with the sliders. Of course, we always change the active one. Now we have a nice olive color. I'll draw an olive ellipse and I'll change them around. I have kind of a brown color. And oh yeah, now I remember. I'm going to draw some other stuff on top of the brown ellipse, and then I want to come back to brown again. So I'm going to save this color brown. I take a snapshot. I make a perfect copy of the sliders, and now this set of sliders are my active sliders. Now I'll change the current color. I make sort of a blue. Okay, I'll draw a couple of blue ellipses, and now I want to go back to brown. All I have to do is throw away the top set of sliders on the stack. Throw them away. Now they're completely gone. They're forgotten forever. And the top set of sliders on the stack is once again the active set. And of course it's brown because that was the color we had when we saved it. Now if I draw another ellipse, it comes out with that same brown color. So saving this was a great benefit. Okay, let's go ahead and make some more changes. I'll change the active sliders. I have a magenta ellipse. And this is the second example we saw at the start. I'm going to draw a gray ellipse in front of this, and then I want to come back to magenta. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to save an undo point. I'm going to make a copy of the sliders. This is now my active color. If I change the active color and draw something, okay, we get it in the new color. So I'll draw a couple of gray ellipses, And now I want to go back to magenta. Of course, I could just monkey with the sliders and recover the same magenta, but let's go back to the one I saved. So I'm going to take the top element of the stack, throw it away. Now it's the top set of sliders that are active with their magenta color, and if I draw something now, it uses the current color. And there's my nice magenta circle on top of the gray ellipse I just drew. Now I want to wrap up, and I'll draw a final object in cyan. So I'll throw away the top element of the stack. Now my current color is cyan, and I can draw one more object, and I'm done. And again, notice that the first cyan ellipse in the bottom right is underneath the other guys. The last cyan ellipse in the bottom left is on top. As an aside, you actually can save colors in a stack just the way we did in this video. But the stack in processing that does that job saves so much more information, you often end up undoing all sorts of things that you don't want to undo. And we really don't even need that stack. It's so easy to save a color by name. We just assign it to a variable, and then we can pass that variable to fill or stroke, and we almost never need to use a color stack. The reason for covering stacks here was to pave the way for the next video, where we will use a stack to create undo points when we apply transformations to our coordinate system. That's a place where stacks really shine.